on Friday. In times of feast, praise him. In times of famine, praise him. When it's all going all good, I want you to praise him. And even when it's going all wrong, praise him. Celebrate every single day that ends in Y. Why? Because when you hold on to God's unchanging hands, he won't let you slip. He won't let you fall. That's all, y'all. Hey, it's your girl Tamara Fair on the air. I should say back on the air. I've been away. I've had a few obstacles, but guess what? God showed me how to get through them. And with you all's prayer and praise, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. It's going to be a great show today. We got so much to share with you. It's a whole bunch going on, and it's not all bad. In fact, it's all good. The First Lady, yes, our forever First Lady, is back in the news. And when we come back, we're going to tell you all about it. Don't go nowhere. We got way more to share right here on Inspiration 1390. It's the Brunch Bunch. I would be remiss if I did not pay homage to our resident DJ, Swagger DJ AJ, giving us all those gospel goodies. He gets our Friday started right, y'all. It's the weekend, baby, and we gonna take you out of here on 10. So I told you about Michelle Obama, our forever First Lady, but I want to get right into the details. Michelle Obama was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yes, the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, epitome of poise, beauty, and sophistication, and her just humbleness. Every time you see her, she's so humble, but she is, make no mistake, by far, undoubtedly, one of the most celebrated women. I didn't say black women. I'm saying women in the world, not even just in America. And so she was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and we want to send out congratulations to Michelle Obama and all the little Michelle Obamas that are going to follow in her footsteps. More exciting news. Evanston, Illinois, yes, right here in our own state, has become the very first city in the country to fund reparations in an effort to compensate Black Americans for the loss of generational wealth due to the inequity and systemically racist policies that have emerged since the era of slavery. Now, this is epic, y'all. We've been talking about reparations for hundreds, thousands of years. If you remember, it started out with 40 acres and a mule, and that came about. But it was noted that it was an order from the Union General William T. Sherman Special Fund Order number 15, issued on January 1865. What's this year? 2021. 1865 to 2021, and we're still talking about reparations, but they not talking about it in Evanston. They doing something about it. Yeah, so each family shall have a plot of not more than 40 acres and a tillable ground. That's where it was. No. I'm talking about in 1865.
Oh,
now
Evanston ain't got that much land.
No. I'm taking you back, and I'm gonna bring you forward. But that's how it originated, right? So it was about 1865, as I said, but now Evanston has done something remarkable. Initially, there were reports that Evanston City Council would vote on the measure at its Monday night meeting, but the council said that the information was incorrect, and the final vote was scheduled 2 weeks later on March 22nd. The 158-year-old, located in Chicagoland along the north shore of Lake Michigan, plans to distribute $10 million in tax dollars to the cause over the next decade, with $25,000 payments to eligible residents beginning this spring. You know when it's spring? Spring starts on the 21st. Right. So people can start getting those lump sums of money like in the morning. In the morning. Right. Yes. So the first initiative of the $10 million plan is the Restorative Housing Reparations Program. Y'all look it up. I'll tell you all the time, fact check me. But these are the facts for real. That would distribute up to $25,000 for housing per eligible resident, with funding expected to come from the 3% tax on recreational marijuana sales. I know a lot of people in city council, a lot of people all over the state, when I say people, I mean policy makers, say, well, we can come up with all these creative ideas, but where are we going to get the money from? Well, that was one of the initial reasons for legalizing marijuana, so that we could have new money and do new things with it.
When do we want it?
Now. When do we need it? Right now.
Call J.G. Wentworth.
No, call Evanston.
Yes.
Oh, because they getting it done. Yeah, and you know what? I, for one, am very excited about this because with this order, it's going to change a lot of people's lives. Well, where did these reparations come from? The discussion on reparations has been going on, as I said, since slavery was abolished, allegedly, and now... But when they start talking about it, they actually excluded black people from it. But now black people are not excluded. They are, I don't want to say they, we are included. Evanston's reparations resolution was designed to address the discriminatory housing practices of the past. And that term, in case you didn't know, was called redlining. I say was, but it's not in the past. It is still happening today. So I have to say, shout out, love out, blessings to all of Evanston who made this possible, and maybe other cities, municipalities will follow in those footsteps. It's been a long time coming, but a change is gonna come. And we got a caller on the line, and caller, you say what?
Just the passion that you have, what you're doing, that the crew is doing. I've never been one to call into the show here, but I've called a couple of times now, and I said this before, woman of God, I pray that our future state representative, you are passionate, you are articulate, you can read, you're a critical thinker.
Thank you.
Please, we need you and and the main thing going forward, so that our babies and those families that have been dropped out of the system, that we find a way, not in any other nationality or any other ethnic group, but we want to make sure for the reparation, we find a way to bring those back that have been lost, even if they're in Mississippi, even they're in California. I don't know if we can go back to the last school they attended. I'll volunteer to try to get on the phone and try to make connections, but your brilliance is needed. So I thank you. I'll continue to listen out and see what I can do. I'm taking lead. I'm an old senior, but I'll take lead from the Joshuas and the Joshuettes. Bless you all.
Oh, bless you. Yes.
That was so nice. You know what I loved about what she said? First of all, that she called in, took the time. People don't have to do anything kind for you. So bless you, my sister. I truly thank you. But the fact that she said...
Did you hear what she said?
Yeah, that's
Future state rep.
Oh, she talking about me?
Yeah, she talking about you. She's called before. She's a faithful.
I know,
She's called a few times. I know that
voice.
But she said it before that we need people like you in office.
Oh, wow.
So let's just run.
Run, Jesse. Well, I wanted to comment on the fact that she said, I will get into the trenches. I will move this movement forward with my efforts. And see, that's what we don't do. We talk about it in our kitchens, in our cars, but we don't do anything about it when we get out of the kitchen and out of the car. So when I hear someone like her, because immobilizing is an art. When you put people together and galvanize efforts, that's when the needle starts to move. She's a needle mover, and we need her. You know, and you're a needle mover, Action Jackson. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had something to do with these reparations. Start small and grow big. Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. I'm about to call J.G. Wentworth because he know how to get cash now.
Yeah, he
and
does.
We need reparations now.
We definitely do. But you know what? The fact that Michelle Obama is in the Hall of Fame, and the fact that tides are changing around the country, and I definitely got to give a shout out to the millennials and the Generation Z's, who actually put their foot forward and started all this protest. And they were like, we're not going to keep protesting. We want results. And this is a result of what their efforts have. So I want to say and dedicate this next song to them. Fred Hammond, I feel good. You already know what it is. It's Inspiration 1390.
So what's going on is, since we have a day of hot topics, I don't have to talk about a hot topic. I'm going to talk about, Tammy, cut your volume down so I'm on your phone. Okay. I'm going to talk about something that I talked about yesterday. So, on yesterday, I told to believe, and we have the best believers that listen to our show. They love us, they appreciate us, they call in. So I mentioned that I planned a big trip coming up this Thursday. The 18th, I'm supposed to be going to Jamaica with Valencia for her birthday, and we had a big, exciting stuff planned, and we got about 20 friends going to 22. Be with us, 22. And but guess who ain't going? Me. I don't have a passport. So no, yesterday, the believers start flooding the phone lines to give me tips. Church lady, like, they got to do what you look. She's found. They would just call it, and after the show, I was getting Facebook inboxes and like, oh, let me help. We praying. We gonna get you to Jamaica. This morning, I decided. I said, okay, I said it on the radio. Let me put it on social media, and maybe something good will come out of this. The influx of calls, texts, inboxes this morning with resources have been unbelievable. I got one inbox, and she said, I got to connect. She said, and actually my connect is a supervisor at the passport office. She said, I'm going to call her for you. And she said, when you leaving? I said, Thursday. She said, oh, that's good. I thought you were leaving tomorrow. Yeah. She said, that gives me enough time. She said, I believe. She said, you going to Jamaica. I'm asking the believers, because the Bible says, where 2 or 3 are gathered, I'll be in the midst. I need you all to touch and agree that I'm going to be on the beaches of Jamaica. COVID, don't touch me. COVID. No, I'm just.
How you gonna touch and agree? See, that's why you
social
might just
distance, touch and agree. No. So I am. I just want to shout out to believers, because listen, yesterday it was going down. I said call if you, and they just lines are just blowing up. But if you're listening, I still don't have it yet. And if you got a resource,
it's on the way.
It's got to get better. It's got to get better. So
didn't he just say?
He said, who said it? Hezekiah.
He said it's got to get better.
No, let him sing it. No, so I'm excited. And I'm glad to have you back, because we've been talking and we're praying for you in the passing of one of the coolest dudes that I know, God, Brother Eddie.
Cool. And you know what? It is amazing, because I want you all to really hold on. Put your arms around life.
Yes.
The lives that mean something to you, put your arms around it, because I don't know if I shared this with you, but he was getting dressed, right? Mm-hmm. He was getting dressed to go and take another relative to the hospital.
Wow.
And my mom was getting dressed, and then she heard a big thump. And there he was on the floor, and she kept saying, breathe, breathe. And he tried to breathe, but he took his last breath, actually, in front of her. In 5 minutes, he was gone.
Wow.
5. And so that's why.
Getting dressed.
Yes, he put his pants on. Nothing was wrong with him. He wasn't sick. Nothing happened. But I mean, not when I say nothing happened, nothing medically happened. He did take that shot, and so you can't convince me.
Oh Lord!
You cannot convince me.
See, here come this conspiracy theory. But I said it yesterday. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal, and we are praying for you. And I often ask people, I'm always, look, my profession before COVID, I was getting booked to MC funeral after funeral after funeral.
Oh, I should have booked you.
No. Bro, Malcolm say I am, what do you call me, the Grim Reaper. Talk about, I don't want you nowhere near me, brother. But no, every time I experience something like this, it's like, what do you tell people when they lose a loved one?
Let me tell you what you say. Not necessarily what you say, but what you know when you know that it's a life well lived, and you can say, well done. That's what you say. Yeah. Well done. Because everybody that met him loved him. Yeah. Everybody that was in his presence, he made them feel like a king, and they might not have ever seen a crown.
He was the coolest dude.
Yes, he was.
And I didn't have many encounters with him, but the couple I did was like good times. And I was waiting on the next party at your house to hang with him, because we were going to be jumping in the pool together. With all our clothes on, too.
Right. Oh, don't forget your shoes.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to encourage you guys to celebrate life every moment. Not every day, because you think, okay, well, if I made it through the day, I'll make it tomorrow. Not necessarily, but live it like it's your last, because if it's not, you will have enjoyed that day, and then you'll have some more to enjoy.
Listen, you can be here today and gone today.
Yes.
So you know what? Every moment you have to love it, and you have to appreciate it.
We just got to keep on moving, y'all. A lot of people have been calling me. I want to thank you guys for those prayers. I want to thank you for all your well wishes. And I also want to thank you for the food. You can keep that coming. But we got to keep it moving. Everybody that has lost someone has got to layer that message. Are your affairs in order? Do you have your life and your connection with God solid. If not, you got an opportunity to make a do-over. But whatever you do, whatever you don't do, keep it moving. Jonathan McReynolds said it best. Keep it moving. It's right here on Inspiration 1390 on the Brunch Bunch. Friday, ready for the weekend. What about you, Action Jackson?
I'm like Freddie, I stay ready.
That's what you say every day. Yes, you do stay ready. Now we're talking all things reparations today. We're talking all things Black, not necessarily Black History Month, but Women's History Month. We talked about Michelle Obama, but I touched on redlining, and then someone inboxed me and said, I know I've heard of the redlining, but what exactly is that? And usually it's typically the practices happens more in minority communities, but redlining is a discriminatory practice that puts services, financial and otherwise, out of the reach of its residents in certain areas based on race or ethnicity. It can be seen in the systemic denial of mortgages, insurance loans, and other financial services. Does any of this sound familiar to anybody? Okay, I've heard these stories. I actually have witnessed these stories. And that's the area that history usually has it happen more often. So rather than on the individual's qualifications or credit worthiness, so you may have really good credit or credit that would actually qualify you for a mortgage in the particular area that you are trying to seek a mortgage, but because of redlining and financial profiling, that's the important part, financial profiling, then you won't get it. But notably, the policy of redlining is felt most by the residents of minority neighborhoods. So I just cannot applaud Evanston enough for being courageous enough to be trailblazers and showing the courage to say, irrespective of what was going on, we're going to dawn a new day and we're going to include minorities. So, because you see that by 2050, it is predicted that by 2050, most of the world will be people of color. So that means if most of the world will be people of color, you continue to redline, there will be no mortgages.
47 years from now.
Yeah, 47 years from now.
Man. Well, you know what? One of the things I was talking to my barber about this, when back in the 60s, Oak Park, which is like my town, west side suburb.
And you still like it even though they keep on towing your car.
Keep on towing my car. I'm glad I ain't staying out that long. But no, nevertheless, when they desegregated and started allowing black people to move in, Oak Park was so smart. And it was bogus, but it was very good play. Mm-hmm. Instead of redlining African Americans, they put into an ordinance that whenever you could not put a sign out saying your house was for sale or for rent, you had to do it through Oak Park Housing. And then Oak Park Housing would then, disseminate the information. But what they did was when black people came to Oak Park, they made sure they put them far away from each other. So when they went to the housing, Oak Park Housing, they would put one person, black person on here, and then you down here, because they didn't want ghettos to be created.
Okay.
And so, no, it was the redlining, but it's like when Chicago, okay, so the point is, and I probably just rambled a little bit. Let me go back.
I just didn't understand. Was that something that you were in favor of, or was that
No,
something
I'm not in favor of it, but I think it was very strategic and smart on their part because they couldn't legally say that you couldn't live in certain areas. So then they put ordinances in places, and you cannot put a for sale or for rent sign up in Oak Park. It has to go through the Oak Park Housing. But it's kind of changing now, but back in the 60s, and when you read the report, I read a book about it, and they did that to not create ghettos. It was wrong, but it was strategic and smart. So
Well, ghettos are usually, when you think about ghettos, you usually think about people of color and particularly black people, right? But some of the largest ghettos, because by definition a ghetto is a amalgamation of a mass people that have commonalities, and it could be race, it could be socioeconomic commonalities, and those are usually the two indicators, right? But some of the largest ghettos are of white people because there are more white people in the world than there are of people, black people. So
people don't know that either. Because when you look in Jewish history, they were in ghettos. That's what they called it. Yep.
Jewish ghettos. But I think that we have stigmatized it over time because they're places like Chinatown. Chinatown is a ghetto. They have very nice homes, but still, if you by definition follow the accurate definition, that's a ghetto.
Yeah.
And hey, I like my people, so I like being around the same people. You like your people.
Move to the ghetto.
Yeah, I'm in a ghetto. I'm in a ghetto. And it's not bad. But you know what? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, the new definition of ghetto is nothing I really want to be a part of. But I love the hood. I don't love the ghetto.
Okay. Well, and it's tomato. It's semantics. Literally, because it's rich tradition, mores, ethos in ghettos that really define who we are as a people. Now, of course, there's individuality that's going to identify you for you, but you're still going to have a commonality within your individuality that connects you to a common culture. And so I say that the cultures around the world, we do this in preschool, we have 10 different cultures, and for each month that they're in academic school, and each child gets to bring some of their artifacts and share with the other people what their culture has to offer. So you may not even get to visit these different cultures, but at least you know what they are. So I think that when we talk about reparations and the Black agenda, what are some of the things besides what Evanston has done that we would include in our Black agenda? Don't go anywhere. We might even ask you to share. I want to know from you, Action, and then I'm going to open it up to the listening audience. What would you include in the Black agenda, better known as reparations, if you were tasked to create one? I know when we talked about it last year, we talked about, during Black History Month, you said that I think that Black people should not have to pay for any cotton goods in commemoration for all of the cotton we picked throughout history. And I thought that was genius. So what else would you include?
Oh, man,
I would include no taxes for 400 more years, property taxes, sales tax, any kind of tax that is afforded to every other citizen. Black people will be excluded for the next 400 years to try to make up for some of that tax that we've paid throughout history.
That's interesting. I would do economic stimulus, and I would incorporate the CHAP system. Shout out to Larry Penson, who's on our Facebook Live. If you don't know about CHAPS, go to pensonsenior.net. But nevertheless, no, I think of economic stimulus. I think the way that they just did the PPP and not the $1,400 checks. I'm talking about a real stimulus check to get people financially. And I think they should get all Black people A1 credit.
Oh, you know what? My daughter said, I was telling her, because, as I fix credit, I look at the difference between minority credit and majority credit, and I see a 20 to 30 point difference. Now, I don't know if that's because of the minority status or because of the majority status. I just noticed that it's intrinsic. my daughter said, that's a white score.
Yes, definitely.
I never knew that. I don't even know if I subscribe to that, and I'm the resident conspiracy theorist.
Well, you know what it is? The leg up is most African American parents don't have good credit, so it's not like they can pass it on to their kids. The majority parents have good credit, and they add their kids to their credit cards while they're younger. Yeah, so by the time they're 18, they're out the gate with credit. So the minority first credit card is $300, when the majority teenager's first credit card is like $30,000.
Oh, wow. Okay, I never knew that. But I want to hear from you guys, 312-591-3878. If you were tasked to create items that were to be included in a Black agenda, aka reparations, what would you include? We've given you 2 examples. So, another thing that when we've had this conversation, because the Illinois legislation has done some historic work that we've talked about on the show in the past. In fact, we even had Senator Kimberly Lightford to come on and talk about the pillars that were included in the Black agenda that are either in policy or going to soon become a part of our Illinois policy. So I definitely got a shout out to all the Illinois lawmakers who have been at the forefront of pioneering this Black agenda forward. So 312-591-3878. Don't go nowhere, y'all. We got way more to share right here on Inspiration 1390. Hey, caller, you say what would you input into the agenda that you created?
Yes, first of all, I just love all of you all.
Oh, thank you.
And I love, and I want to shout out to Ashton Jackson, because he's not only an advocate for the youth, but for everybody, because I got a chance to meet him.
Miss Betty, hey!
Lady met him, and I met Sonia Wrigley. I met so many of you in different events, and you all are so purposeful and so inspirational, and you are always giving us news that we can use. But first of all, for all the elected officials from Arkansas, where I'm from, I would like the restoration of the land that was taken from us unjustly, the land we did have, and also restoration of homes in the northern areas that we are losing at a record rate. So I just want to shout out to y'all, and those are 2 suggestions.
Those are great suggestions.
In other southern states and in Illinois and other states where we are losing due to taxes and unfair practices of credit. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, that was some good input. And while we were off the air, you had a very good point to make that the listeners want to hear about. Because I was saying, not necessarily just the taxes. Of course, that would be a layer. And then your added layer would be an economic stimulus.
Economic infusion.
Because of the fact that our country was built off the backs of
These
slaves.
major corporations for 400 years had free labor, and so that helped. That was an economic infusion that made their businesses so successful. So for us to be successful, we need no taxes, but we also need some money to do business, to do what we need to do.
Absolutely. We got another caller on the line that has some input. Caller, you say what?
Hello. This is Virgil.
Hi, Virgil.
Hey, Tammy, I'm a first-time listener, as you know, and I, first of all, am so inspired by the energy that emits from you over these airways.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
The vibrations that come out from you and your co-host are very powerful and very inspiring.
We appreciate you and the work that you're doing out in the community, too, Virgil. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy, and also I wanted to say that it's very refreshing as a first-time listener to hear the type of topics and subjects that you guys address on radio, because it's not really commonplace, and we could really relate to your sentiments, and everything that you're saying is really like a pickup for us. To hear that we all think alike. It's more of us that think alike than it is that not. So we just don't get the exposure. So I just want to say kudos to you guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Fired up and charged up.
All right. Thank you, Virgil.
Yes, we have some.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Now, Virgil is a pastor, and actually he will be officiating my stepfather's funeral. And he's my brother-in-law. So he is doing some amazing things out here, grassroots, ground floor, and we're going to talk about it.
And you know what? I just want to, before we go, shout out to Deborah Vines, who is a member of this cast.
Yes.
And she is running for trustee at Maywood, and she wants you all to help us reimagine Maywood, stepping on the road to trustee on March the 21st. There's a fundraiser from 3 to 6. Make sure you check it out. Follow Deborah on Facebook, Instagram, Deborah Vines. We want to make sure we all support her.
And we're going to make that come to fruition. You guys, it's been a blast. We're about to get out of here, but you know we take you with us wherever we go. Thank you for listening. We will see y'all Monday. And you know we always want to encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know that you love them. Show someone that you do know how much you love them. I love you, Action Jackson.
I love you, Tammy Fair. We love you, believers.